there any truth being sought after right now?
Is there any truth being sought after right now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's how we liven it up. What's going on, fellas?
I was just watching Jaron's interview of Austin Thompson.
Who's Austin Thompson?
Oh, another flat Earth leader that flipped.
Is that Austin Whitsitt's government name?
No. There's, believe it or not, there are multiple Austins related in the flat Earth realm.
He was a leader for you? He's your leader?
Your fearless leader.
Well, I wasn't a flat Earther.
Why did he flip?
Your leader. You called him a leader.
Well, he was a content producer, a flat Earth advocate content producer with many subscribers.
How many? How many?
Oh, I don't know.
How many is he leading?
None now. He's not leading any flat Earthers now.
Oh, so how many was he leading before the glip?
I don't know.
So why did he leave?
Did you subscribe to him, Jesse?
No.
He said it's his leader.
Were you one of his Patreons?
No.
Why did he leave?
Where'd he go?
Finding that out. Right in the middle of the interview. I'll post a link to it in case any of you guys want to check it out. There you go.
Oh, got an hour and a half?
So were they like reveling? Were they reveling in their prior ignorance, or like how did it go? What was so entertaining about it?
Well, it was more entertaining than what was going on here, which was silence.
Dang, shots fired.
I came in here first and there was nothing happening, and someone posted a link to that, and I thought, oh, I'll check that out until someone talks in the VC. But
was it like a big? Sorry, go ahead.
No, in answer to your question, he was taking zoomed in photos of the sun and stuff, and he was trying to, get answers. The other flat earthers, prominent ones like Dave Weiss were telling him whatever, it's a light in the sky, or, whatever. And he was trying to get answers, and so he was getting some, kickback from that, because he could see there was sunspots. He could see that it gave every appearance of being an object that was, blazing with sunspots on it that moved. And there were a number of things where he was starting to get some, to realize that the people, the flat earthers that he looked up to, weren't being straight with him about stuff. And then it sounds like the final experiment just pushed him over the edge.
Is he fully transitioned now? Did you get the surgery and everything?
Like over the edge of the flat Earth?
Well, I think he did get the surgery done. Do the lobotomy you get when you become a flat earther.
Did he get snipped up? Did he get the snip?
I think he got the two halves of his brain sewed back together.
AI.
He got his balls back instead of getting them clipped.
Whatever they did to him to initiate him into flat Earth, I think they got it repaired.
So much passive aggressive in here. Who are you slandering? Talking about, Jesse?
A former flat earther, Austin. What is his name? Austin Thompson.
Austin Thompson.
Yeah,
he was your leader. You said he was your leader.
No, I did not. Don't misquote me. I said he was a flat Earth leader, and so in order for him to ever have been my leader, I would have had to have been a flat Earther, right?
No, he's your leader because no one else defined him as that but you.
Do you think you're a flat Earth leader, Gio?
You're the only one who defined him as that.
Well, be fair. If we are told that Neil deGrasse Tyson is our leader, then we can say that certain people who are prominent in flat Earth are leaders. It's only fair.
Oh, that's a good point.
Well, nobody said anything about Neil deGrasse, so it's a abysmal point for the actual topic.
I have been told by flat earthers many times that Neil deGrasse Tyson was my leader. In fact, I had never even heard of him because I grew up not watching TV. I had never even heard of him until flat earthers told me that he was my leader. How's that for funny? So, but
has Austin Thompson been on Joe Rogan multiple times?
But Gio, I did clarify.
Has he done any seminars or presentations in front of a large audience?
That's the Jesse ignore there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the middle.
How's your footstool today, Jesse?
Question.
How's your footstool? How's it doing? Got your feet kicked up on God's footstool there?
Nice Jesse, have you been using land surveying tools for long distance observations over water again?
I used it for long distance. Well, 7.2 miles. Is that long distance? Some of those total stations are made to shoot like 16 miles or something. Is 7 miles too far over non-water?
Hey, Jesse, your friend's a flat earther. You know, your biblical friend who told you about it. Why don't you invite him here and tell him that he's got half a brain?
So that you can fundy mute him? No, thank
you. Why don't you bring your friend here and tell him that the two parts of his brain aren't connected? Yeah?
I've had friends say that. I just tell them to fuck off.
No wonder.
Fundy mute.
Haven't heard
I think Jesse would realize he'd lose his friends in real life if you do that.
But no, I did clarify.
Let's not do any fundy muting.
What I meant was that Austin Thompson was a flat Earth content creator advocate, flat Earth advocate content creator. And he flipped to globe.
What was he known for? You know, in all of his leading capability.
His contribution was?
Well, surely you would be known for something that you would have found out in the 1 hour and a half video that you're promoting here. Why do you make it so easy for me, Jesse? You're just a pathetic individual.
Well, while we're naming pathetic individuals, let's see here. And thank you for the I'm allowed to do that, right, Gio?
If you don't name me, we're gonna fight.
Well, if you can't answer the basic shit, man, like it just shows your motive. Just shows your motive.
Jesse's about the politest chatter we have in the entire chat. Maybe taking back
Can
Effie,
someone
maybe
smile at you while they
polite.
stab you in the back? I'm pretty sure.
Well, let's be honest. We do enough stabbing each other.
I hope nobody felt stabbed in the back by the true evidence of measurements.
Your whole participation here is that idiom.
That was the inspiration from Nasha Shill, who does that a lot. I don't.
It is
kind
of true, dude. I guess I won't point any fingers, but there are some folks that are just walking around with a knife, just knifing tires. That's all they're doing, dude. They're just conflicted, and they're like, "Oh, I'm knifing tires over here. Oh, these flat Earth, blah, blah, blah." They're just stabbing tires, stealing catalytic converters, just trying to make people have a bad day.
That is NASA Shill.
Well,
he never misses an opportunity.
I'm not NASA Shill. So thank you for
You're worse.
That.
Damn.
Do you know what
it's all fair in love and war.
What makes me worse is that I actually go out and do measurements, and it's very
your keyboard warrior.
No, you can't self-define. That's not how it works.
Are you saying I don't do measurements?
Well, if I go around saying I'm cool, I can't do that. Cool is defined by what other people would call me. So if you think that you're, better or worse because of the measurements you do, that would be something that we would have to define you of.
I didn't say anything about me being better or worse. I just said I made measurements.
In regard to what? In
The,
regard to what comment that I made?
It was not in response to anything you said.
So full of shit.
I was just saying that the reason someone,
man.
I think Hugh brought up NASA shill, and I says the reason the things I say are more difficult for flat earthers to dismiss than NASA
No,
shills.
you didn't
because
say that.
He
You
tends
said that you're worse. You're
Am I
worse
cutting out?
This is
because you
habitual.
you are worse because you actually go out and do measurements. That's what you said.
He's triggered. Don't worry about it.
Well, isn't it true that someone who comes back with first-hand accounts and full HD color video of measurements is harder to dismiss than somebody who simply is making claims about things they've never done?
Observations or measurements?
Are you using those measurements and claims either validate our position or not, or do you just come in here making points that nobody argued against? Like, does anyone here dismiss that objects in the distance would dip down on a flat surface? Anyone? Didn't think so. So you want to come in here and just assert all kinds of like globe claims? One of which,
a couple hypotheticals that are cooked up. You want to defend these hypotheticals?
Basically, that's what he comes in doing. Like, that's what makes you worse, man, is that you argue shit that nobody brought up. And then when we give you an explanation, you just pretend like, like what you do with me. You just pretend I don't even speak. Huh. And you wonder why people are exhausted with you, man.
Well, if you would let people respond to the things you say rather than cutting them off in the middle of their sentence, they would be more willing to discuss things with you.
I don't want to talk to you, Jesse.
Well, you addressed me, so if you didn't want to talk to me, why did you start talking to me?
At no
Who made you?
point when you're in this room, of which you're not really welcomed, do I ever really want to talk to you. But you happen to be in this room.
Well, you talk to me when I'm here by your own will. You talk about me when I'm not here by your own will. So I'm not sure how you can say that. But yeah, since you brought it up, here's a specific situation, and I've shared my screen. What path do you think the light took to go from the top of the building to the observer's eye?
It went through your ass and out your mouth.
Bro, here's the first hypothetical, dude. Like something he did that he claims he did that we can't verify. That he's coming with this hypothetical to loop in circles, dude. You just started.
Well, what do you mean hypothetical? Are you saying I didn't stand on this hill and sight across this water tube level to this building? Well, what's hypothetical? If I literally physically go out to a hill, set up an actual real physical water tube level, sight across the top of this real physical water tube level, across 21 miles of real physical water, and to the top of a real physical 187 foot tall building, how's that a hypothetical?
So you are using land surveying tools for long distance observations over water.
Oh, my water tube level? Oh, the manufacturer very clearly states that this water tube level is created for very great distances. I made it myself. I am the manufacturer.
We're not talking about the water tube level, Jesse.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical to everybody you're asking it to because you're claiming you did something that nobody here can verify. So if I said, it's a loaded question. If I said, I went up on my roof and I looked over here, what path do you think the light is moving in this thing this place where you're not at, you don't have any of the conditions, you're not physically there. It's just a hypothetical to try to loop people into some cornered, like you're trying to corner people. You're trying to corner people with your hypothetical instead of having like a live discussion in the moment of something that can be addressed directly and could be actually discussed.
What do you mean that it can't be verified? I have a video of me doing it, and I give the locations of the observer location and the target, so anybody could literally go to the same spot and do the
Can we
same
see
thing
the
that I do.
picture? Can you switch the screen to the picture or put half the screen of the picture? Okay, here we go. Nice.
Yeah, I got the video that's a screenshot from too. I'll post it. So, but how's this theoretical, or how's this unverifiable when I literally have it on video and it's a public place anybody could go to and check it for themselves? How's that unverifiable? Well, what do you mean?
Does anybody want to go repeat what Jesse did and come back?
You
All
could
right.
even
What's the next topic?
you could even do it in your own area. All you got to do is find a distance to look over, set up a water tube level, and find with a building that's 100 feet above you or whatever, and 20 miles away, and you can do the same thing. It's not magic. It's totally verifiable.
What's verifiable?
That if you recreate my experiment, you will get these results that I'm claiming. What is verifiable is that it is possible to stand on a 53-foot high hill, look at a building that's 21.2 miles away, that is 178 feet taller than you, also standing on a 53-foot high hill, and it is also verifiable that that building, even though it is 187 feet, 180 feet taller than you, you are still looking downward at it. It is still below eye level.
So things sink in the horizon.
Appears to be, but it's not physically below your eye level.
Okay, I posted the video.
You can't determine if it's physically below your eye level or not, because the evidence is completely visual. So you're just assuming that light's moving in a straight A to B path.
Well,
when light has the path of light has never been measured.
Well, have you
even for half a mile, let alone 21.2 miles?
You done? Okay, so I'm asking because what we do know is it started at the top of the building.
Wait, I just made such a good point. You're just gonna not address it?
What started?
He doesn't hear people.
Like, did you not just hear the point? Did you not just hear the point that invalidates the entire idea of even doing this to begin with?
Damn, son.
Well, in my opinion, it does not invalidate it. I'm sure it invalidates it to you, but I think if you were to listen to my next three questions, or listen to my next three statements and consider the question that I ask, you would see why I think what you said doesn't invalidate it. You want to give it a try, or did you leave? You left. Well, we know that the light starts out at the top of the building, because that's what we're seeing. We know that it somehow passes through this region here below the top of the red water in the water tube, and we also know that it somehow gets back up to the observer's eye level. Now, as you can see, that is not a straight line. So my question is:
did you get a perpendicular perspective of this to verify your claim of what the light's doing?
What is a perpendicular perspective?
Oh, so like getting a perpendicular view instead of you observing something in the distance, looking at it, being perpendicular to that observation.
Oh, you mean a side view in full HD or in 8K?
Yeah, in full 8K, Jesse. Did you do that? Did you get your perpendicular side view so you can actually show us the light doing what you claim it's doing?
No, DMOC took that with him, with his gravity bucket. But which of my three claims do you disagree with?
So you're just gonna ignore that? Or
Well,
you're just gonna say, or did you just concede no, you didn't?
Well, I don't even know exactly what you're asking for. It's probably not even something possible. But it's also irrelevant to my three claims. Are we in agreement that the light started out at the top of the building, passed through a region below eye level and then entered into the observer's eye.
No, we're not in agreement.
Okay, which of those do you disagree with?
The whole thing.
So you don't think that the light that I saw entered into my eye?
Nope.
Oh. So you think we can see light that doesn't enter our eye?
Are you going to prove that claim? That light went into your eye? Can you demonstrate that?
That doesn't even sound good faith, honestly. I mean,
It doesn't?
are you aware that we see by light entering our eye? Did you miss that?
So, would it be in good faith for you to demonstrate the light doing what you're claiming it's doing inside your observation?
How could I demonstrate something that happened a
By
couple
getting
years
a
ago?
perpendicular perspective of that same observation?
Well, look at the right bottom inset of my screen share
Why
here.
don't you have a partner help you out, like your flat earth friend? So you can ridicule him while he helps you get a perpendicular perspective of these observations to verify or debunk your claim.
Well, look at the right bottom inset here. We can see light coming from the corner of the building right here. Do you believe that the light coming from that corner of the building entered in through the camera's lens and hit the pixels in the camera?
No.
So how did the camera... Well, then what did hit the pixels? If the light coming from the building didn't hit the
It's
pixels...
CGI because it has to be.
Have you been drinking?
Nope.
Okay, well, I guess if you're going to appeal to CGI, that is the highest compliment you could give me, because you're saying I faked it, and all you have to do is go out and try this yourself, and you'll have to give up Flat Earth because I didn't fake it. You'll get
I'm
the
gonna
same
have
result.
to.
Well,
I'm gonna have
yeah,
to do that.
if your only Flat Earth explanation for this is CGI, when you
But
find
you
out...
don't have any actual results. You just have an interpretation of something, right?
I've got video evidence.
Well, do you have like another reference frame to show the claim of light doing what you're saying it does? Or are you just going to stick to, your interpretation?
Does anybody else here agree with him in claiming that the camera can take a picture of the building without the light from the building hitting the camera sensor?
Yes.
So we have to have like
Who said that? Was that you,
somebody
Riggs?
did. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Is somebody did.
Yeah,
So
somebody else.
Okay, so why can't I take a picture of the building with the lens cap on the camera then? What is the lens cap blocking that the camera needs to take a picture of the building?
Science.
The lens cap is blocking science?
Yeah.
It has to be.
Well, thanks for the troll, guys.
Yeah, fuck off.
Right back at you, buddy. No, I mean, it would be interesting and actually maybe something substantial if you had a perpendicular perspective of your claim of what light's doing. So you could actually demonstrate it. You know what I mean?
Have you ever played with a laser pointer on a dark night, Fresh
I've
Grown?
watched you do it enough times to know that it's not going to do what you claim it does. Unless you get a fish tank.
Well, no, this particular thing doesn't have anything in particular to do with refraction. This is just what I observed. And what you would observe if you went to the same place and did the same
So
thing.
the light the light wasn't affected by any type of refraction. It just didn't go in a straight path. That's what you're saying?
Well, in my opinion, Earth is curved, and that's why the light passed through the water tube level.
So it still didn't have any refraction. It just light curves. That's what it does.
No, that's not what
okay.
I'm saying. There naturally there would have been a small amount of standard atmospheric refraction, but
Okay, so there's
wrong-
refraction involved.
but-
So you're just
but-
lying out of your neck like always.
hold on. But in the wrong
Hoping
direction.
nobody catches it because you just constantly keep going.
Have you been smoking weed again?
Nope, not at all, Jesse. Have you been using land surveying tools for long distance observations over water again?
Let's see. I don't think so. The last one I did was over land, and it was only 7.2 miles. Me and my brother went up on two opposing mountain peaks 7.2 miles away and measured the elevation angle to each other, not over water, just over a big ravine, basically. Well, two big ravines. And would you believe we both measured a downward angle to each other, even though we were both at the same
I wouldn't believe
elevation?
it.
What's that?
Nope, I wouldn't believe it. You're right.
Well, you got to try it out, man.
You out of here, bro?
If your only explanation for the evidence I bring is to say I made it up, if that's the only possible way for me to be bringing this evidence on a flat Earth, then you will have to leave flat Earth when you go test it for yourself, because you're giving me the highest compliment possible if you're saying I made it up, because it means you have no explanation whatsoever for it on a flat Earth, and when you test it for yourself, you'll be like, you know what? Earth can't be flat.
Yeah, that totally didn't happen. All right, did you come yet? That's why you're here, right?
Sorry, I missed all of the last of what you said, Jesse. I was interacting with a coworker. Can you run that back again?
Oh, sure. I said, if your only explanation for my evidence that I bring on a flat Earth is that I faked it, for you saying to say I faked
Is
it,
this immediately after I said that I don't believe that you guys had the downward angles? I just want to make sure we're picking up where we left off.
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, if your only explanation is to say I faked it, if Earth is flat, then all you have to do is go try it for yourself. You'll see that it's true, and you'll have to leave flat Earth because you'll know that there's no explanation whatsoever for this happening on a flat Earth.
For what happening?
Us both measuring a downward angle to each other when we're both at the same elevation.
And so why wouldn't that happen?
Because of geometry. Let me put it this way. Let's say you take two Lego bricks on your desk, and your desk is level, and you set a straight ruler across those two Lego bricks. And the two Lego bricks are both the same height. Will that ruler be level like your desk is?
So we went from long distance observations to Legos. And we're going to use that as a legitimate comparison?
Yes.
Well, I'm trying
Okay,
to.
just making sure.
Well, you know the geometry for this, Eli. A straight line between 2 points of equal elevation is level, right?
Why are you fucking bringing me into this shit? I just heard something
Oh,
out
I'm
in left field, and I was like, hey, I'll just inject myself here. Now I'm going to exit there.
Oh, fair enough. But yes, a straight line between 2 points of equal elevation is level, right?
Equal
Freshman?
elevation.
Yes.
So if that's a true claim, then you didn't get a downward angle, right?
Well, the question is, why did we both get equal downward angles to each other? On a globe, we would.
Well, you didn't. There must be some error, because remember the fact that you just stated a second ago? Do you want to run it back again?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Oh, okay.
Now, on a globe, we would both measure a downward angle to each other. right?
No biomass tonight. Just so you know. All right. Sorry about that. Just updating somebody. No, truck maybe tomorrow night, but not tonight. So go again, Jesse.
You do recognize, of course, that on a globe, we would be both looking slightly down at each other, right?
What do you mean would be?
Well,
You're saying that as if you're not on a globe. That's weird.
I'm conversing with you within your frame of mind. I recognize that you don't think Earth is a globe, so I'm presenting it as
Well,
a
no, I'm
hypothetical
focusing
for
on
you.
what your first claim was. Can you go back to about equal elevation? What was that claim?
That a straight line between 2 points of equal elevation is a level line?
Okay, so if that's a true fact, then you and your friend didn't measure downward angles, correct? Or are you saying that you guys broke that fact and
Well,
it no longer holds true?
well, on a flat Earth, that line would be level at all points. On a globe, it would only be level in the middle, at the tangent point, right?
No, you've got some discussing with the rest of your community to do because that's not the claim. The claim is that it's only level at the intersecting vertical point of the horizontal, and anywhere from there is no longer level. So which one of you guys are going to stand up and say I'm right?
So, are we in agreement that on a globe...
No, we're not, Jesse. That's the whole point of this.
Okay, if you don't want to discuss it with me, just say so. That's okay.
We've been discussing it for the past 30 minutes. You don't have to be pedantic and play psychology games.
Well, if you want to discuss it, I have a question for you. If you don't want to, just say so. But don't pretend like you want to and then cut me off in the middle of my every question, right? That's not grown-upish.
Grown-upish?
So, do we agree that if Earth were a globe, that my brother and I would have both been seeing each other at a downward angle?
No.
We would have been. Where would we have seen each other on it? If Earth were a globe, would we have seen what angle would we have seen each other at?
It depends, what the refraction index is, right?
Let's just say for the sake of discussion that there was no refraction, because right now we're talking about the effects of surface curvature if present, right? So what effect would the surface curvature of the globe have if my brother and I were 7.2 miles apart and both at the exact same elevation above mean sea level?
It wouldn't have any because 2 points of equal elevation have a level line in between them, right?
Right. It's called a level line or a horizontal line, which by definition on a globe is only level in the center.
Again, so now we're back to square one. The rest of your community says the opposite and says that it's only level at the intersecting horizontal point of the vertical. So which one of you are going to step up and say you're right?
Well,
or are you guys going to continue as a community to come in here with different points of views claiming facts?
Well, if you ever want to discuss it, just let me know. I'm glad to discuss it.
So you don't take questions on your presentation. You are only allowed to ask questions, right?
Well, I'm just trying to have a conversation.
That's what questions and answers are, right? I'm just having a conversation with you and I'm asking you which one of you are going to claim that you're right and step up and tell the others that they're wrong? Or are you guys going to continue to come in here with different point of views and different claims and act like you're belittling people intellectually?
You're not speaking to a you guys, you're speaking to a one person.
I was going to say,
here comes the cheerleader.
I don't have multiple personalities. Why are you calling me you guys? I'm not you guys. I'm a guy, though. I'm sure about that.
I'm not. Gatebreaker, you got your pom-poms greased up, ready to go? Globe Earth, globe Earth. So yeah, I mean, whenever you're ready to engage in the conversation and answer that question, I'll be here waiting.
What's your question to me?
Yeah, which one of you guys are going to step up and say you're right, Jesse? Since you guys all have different claims. And when I say you guys, I mean globers, people that claim to believe in the globe.
So your question to me is actually to all the guys other than me?
It's to you, yeah. Are you going to step up and say that the rest of the community is wrong?
Wrong about what?
Wow, we're just going to play running in circles. This isn't really grown-upish of you, Jesse.
Well, why don't you and I have a discussion between you and I rather than
That's what we're trying to do right now, but you're just playing pedantic and running in circles.
rather than you cutting me off and trying to make me have a conversation with all the other guys through me. I'm not the other guys. If you want to talk to the other guys, talk to the other guys. I'm not them. I'm me.
I don't want to talk to them. I'm talking to you. And I'm asking you, which one of you guys are right? Is it you or them, since you're not them?
Well, I think I'm right. I don't know what you're
There you
talking
go.
about them.
So why don't you step up and tell the rest of them to shut up and stop their ignorance? Since they're ignorant, right? You belittle us and say we're ignorant, we don't understand anything, small brain, peon, all these other things, whatever these, you know, these labels are that you throw on us. Why don't you throw it on the rest of your community that believes the same things you believe and let them know? Why don't you put your crown on? Claim your title. King of the globe. King of curvature.
Look, I bring simple evidence. If you don't like it, that's okay. But you can't say you didn't know. How's that?
You bring interpretations. That's all you bring is interpretations of observations. You don't have any measurements. Go over the measurements.
Bullshit.
What's the data behind the measurements that you have?
Well,
What did you measure?
Hold on here. I brought photographs and videos of a real world observation. I asked you.
There it is. Thank you. I appreciate your honesty of admitting that it's just an observation, not a measurement. Thank you for being honest.
What's the difference between an observation and a measurement?
We're not talking to you right now, Shill. We're talking to Jeff.
What's the difference between a measurement and an observation, though?
Stay in the stands and just watch the show.
So what's the difference between a measurement and observation?
You derive measurements from observations.
You're not going to answer. Got it.
Get him, NASA. He called for the other guys specifically. And
get him. Well, yeah, NASA, you're wrong. Unless you claim
what's the difference between a measurement and an observation? You guys need to
figure that out amongst yourselves.
I'm asking you what the difference between a measurement and observation is, since you seem.
I don't care what you're asking me. I'm in the middle of a conversation with Jesse, and you're trying to bulldog your way in, and that's not how it works.
I just want to know what you think the difference between.
Well, you can wait your turn until this conversation's done, and then ask your questions.
Oh, so you're not going to answer because you know you don't have an answer for it.
I didn't say I wouldn't answer. I said I was going to finish my conversation first.
Oh, so you're just going to say no? Okay, I got it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now. Chicken out. Buck, 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 buck.
Oh, buck, buck, buck. The sky is falling.
Yeah, that's what global warming is. The sky is falling. Pay us and it'll go away.
We weren't talking about global warming. That's a different topic.
Oh, I know. I just heard the guy say the sky is falling, so I just,
Imagine how condescending you have to be to hear just like ice inside of someone's cup and then claim that they're drinking. That's weird.
Well, if you ain't doing that, then what is you doing?
I didn't hear the ice actually.
Can I ask a question? This is just going to take like 30 seconds. It's completely off topic. Completely right there. Okay. So I've got a dishwasher. The top I can clean.
Where's she at? I don't see her.
It's a video in my channel on the at the top. But at the bottom, you can see these streaks and stuff, and I cannot get rid of them. Anyone know how to clean stainless steel?
You need a special stainless steel cleaner.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
They'll sell it at Home Depot. Usually, it's something like a spray can. It's good stuff. Works well.
Oh,
What color?
okay.
What color are the streaks?
They just look. You can see everything. The top is really nice, really clean. When you go down here, see all this?
Just hit it with some WD-40 on a rag.
That might work too.
It'll
But
be
they do
smelly
make,
now.
yeah, they do make special stainless steel cleaners for this stuff.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. That's enough of the side thing. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Did they make spherical dishwashers?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
All right. Sorry, guys.
Right.
What is the topic?
Well, my open question was, why did my brother and I both simultaneously measure a downward angle to each other when we were both on mountain peaks of equal height?
Refraction.
Okay. Please explain. Are you saying that refraction was causing light to not take a straight path?
No, you are.
And Jesse, I guess you've replicated this at the lake?
Replicated what?
Having one individual, your brother on one side of the lake, and then you on the other? And then
Nope, I've only done it simultaneously from mountain peak to mountain peak.
How high were the peaks? Do you know off the top of your head? Well,
try again. One of us is roboting.
How high were the peaks, and what was the distance between them?
The peaks were 6,000 feet above sea level, and the distance was 7.2 miles, plus change.
What was the prominence of the peaks? Do you know?
Yeah, let me bring up my change my screen share. Are you able to watch the screen share?
I think so. Some other dude was just sharing his thing. I got watch stream on here.
Cool. All right. See if you can find my screen share. I've got up a Google Earth screenshot.
Okay, I got you. Yep, right here.
So the prominence, the peaks we were on were about 6,005 feet or so. The let's see, the shallowest ravine near one end was about, it looks like 4,250 feet. And then the lowest ravine near the other end was about 3,800 feet elevation. So the prominence of one was like 6,000-ish feet, and the prominence of the other is, I mean, like 4,250 feet, maybe, sort of. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know exactly how that's gonna factor in, but I live in the mountains too, and like shit is different. Like I'm like down in a valley and I'm looking up at mountains, right? But then I can climb up into a valley where the valley floor is higher than the mountain peaks that I look at from my house. And, the conditions are way different. Like I can tell I'm sucking less air up there and,
Oh, aren't mountains amazing? I feel so bad for the peoples in Florida.
they don't know it sucks up here, don't Yeah, they can have their alligators and their snakes and their spiders and their hurricanes, and I'll take Bigfoot, the grizzly bear, and the rattlesnake. Noah, thanks for showing me that. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, here's an end view of that, so you can kind of see that there's some ridges between, and then you can see the final peak that the red arrow points at. Those were the two ridges we were on. One's a ridge and one's a peak.
Jesse, I take it your brother's a globe defender as well?
He never really got into the argument with anybody. He's not a flat Earth advocate, though.
Oh, okay. Just one question came to my mind. How long were you there throughout the day? Did you stay there until evening?
No, probably a couple hours.
Okay, so I guess you made an observation at maybe one point, and then time elapsed, and you made another observation, and I guess they were the same?
There was it took us a little while to each get set up and stuff, and then we did the angle measurements, and then we were trying to do a distance measurement, but we couldn't make that work.
Okay, thank you. So hypothetically speaking, let's say if you stayed there for until dark, do you think what you would be seeing in both eyepieces or your looking piece would be, or actually, do you think your measurements would be identical? Or observations, rather?
Well, not like identical. No two measurements are truly identical unless they happen to round to the same number. But I would expect they would be very similar to each other.
Okay, thank you.
And much closer to what the globe figure that we measured then to flat Earth, for sure. That would be my expectation.
Do you think you'll ever repeat that location observation again in the future?
I sure hope so. Oh yeah, I've been wanting to do this for years, and last year, just before the weather went bad, because it gets all snowed in there. Once the snow hits, then all the roads close, and there's no way you can get, and there's 4 or 5 feet of snow up there. So I'm waiting for the snow to melt again so I can get back up there. But I just wanted to. I had found the two locations on Google Earth, and it looked like they were equal elevation and had line of sight, but I couldn't tell for sure. So we just got up there. Our main goal was to just see if we had access to both locations, and they had line of sight, and they had easy access and line of sight. So while we were there, we figured we might as well, do a kind of a trial run. So yes, I definitely want to do it again. In fact, I want to try doing it, get up there before sunup, and do it until after sundown.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool to do it with your brother too. How long does it take for you guys to meet up or to get to one point to the other?
Well, we're only 15 minutes from each other, but it's about an hour's drive, 40 to 60 minutes drive up to these mountain peaks, because they're slow logging, gravel, winding gravel, one lane roads.
Yeah, I meant how far, what would the time take for your brother, let's see, to get from your observation point to his?
Oh, that would probably be almost 2 hours.
Wow. Okay.
We drove separate cars.
Yeah.
Because we have to go up separate mountains. So to get from one to the other,
2 hours for a 7-mile difference.
Yeah, well, you have to drive. You're going down this winding mountain, one lane winding mountain.
You can get through the Rockies faster than that, Brown. What are you talking about?
Well, it's probably a paved highway through the Rockies.
Depends on where you're at, man.
No, it's definitely not. You go up those mountains, most of them are.
Well, it's at least a 2-lane.
I was just gonna say, if I want to get to the Yellowstone River, which is like as the crow flies, like 25 miles from me, I have to go like 70 miles up and around because there's no fucking road that goes up over the mountains.
Yeah,
It's like 8
25
miles of
miles. I
valley,
get
you know?
that. This is 7 miles in
Well,
two and a
Yeah, but
half hours of driving. That's
oh, I totally believe it. Yeah, he's in some gnarly terrain.
yeah, basically, it's about 40, and I didn't say 2+ hours. I said 1.5 or 2 hours. Basically, it's about like 40 to 60 minutes from town to either mountain peak. So if you were to go, well, you can Google it. It's Blue Mountain is one of them, and Obstruction Point Road is the other one of them in Clallam County, Washington. And so basically, if you were at one point, it would take you 40 minutes to an hour to get back down to town, and then another 40 to 60 minutes to get back up to the other mountain peak. That's just the way the roads are. And it's one lane, and really, you can't go fast because you can't see around the corners. And then there's traffic coming the other direction, and they can't see around the corners, and it's one lane. And then you meet up with someone, and one of you has to back up to the nearest pullout. So
Yeah.
if you've driven this kind of roads, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then one day you will. This is what a 5 milliwatt laser looked like at 7.2 miles. For anyone who's interested. This is a picture of me that my brother took through the theodolite telescope with my little 5 milliwatt laser turned on.
cool, dude.
Do you think that? Oh, go for it.
No, I just said cool.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to ask Jesse, do you think that laser is actually making a straight tangent line, or do you think there's some refraction taking place?
Well, there has to be refraction because we know that light is slower through more dense air, and we know that air is more dense at lower elevations. So we know there has to be some refraction.
Did you have to tilt? Was that laser being shot on a level plane, or level to? I guess since you're both at the same elevation, I guess he was just able to point it out horizontally.
I was pointing it. He filmed it. I was pointing it 2 arc minutes and 27 arc seconds down from me. At him.
Oh, I think I see from what you're sharing.
Yeah. So the V is the vertical angle. I tilted it down a little bit.
Hey, I got a question about that, Jesse, because I have a couple lasers, and you said 5 milliwatts.
Uh-huh.
That's far less than a single watt. You should understand that, right? It's 1/1000th of that. So, the lasers that I have are, well, I bought one, gave it away to someone. That was a 30 watt, which was a 30,000 milliwatt, which means it's 30 watts. But you can buy them commercially for 50,000 milliwatts, which is 50 watts. So if you're saying you took a laser, that's less than like the lasers that you buy at a cat store or an animal store. You said that's what you have. Are you sure that's what the specs on that laser are?
Well,
cheap ass lasers probably do funky shit too.
So it was definitely advertised as 5 milliwatts. And, I hold it in my hand and I play with it, and I think it's around that. It could be a little more. It's just, like if you go on Amazon, you can get 60 of them for $20.
Are you like a laser dope dealer? You can just hold it in your hand and kind of gauge. You're like, yeah, that's about 5. Is that what you just said? You just hold it in your hand and play with it, and you're sure that it's 5 milliwatts? That it feels right.
It feels right. Yeah. Now, actually, I borrowed a laser intensity meter from a friend some years ago who works in optics design work, and tested several different lasers. Not that one specifically, I don't think, but anyway, it could be 10 milliwatts, but I highly doubt the Chinese would under advertise something.
Right.
it
The
just
people that have
seems
violated
like
every
I've seen.
WTO agreement since they jumped into it.
I can tell you with absolute certainty that it is significantly less than 50 milliwatts because I do have a 50 milliwatt laser, which I did measure with the laser intensity meter, so I know it was ballpark. I think it actually measured more around 20. It was advertised at 50, maybe, anyway, 40 something. And I know that when you point that at your finger, it creates a sudden sharp pain. And this little red one.
So it's not. Okay, I guarantee you this. Then it is not the wattage that they're claiming it to be. Your cell phone.
No, listen.
Like the. Okay, well,
Yeah,
I know
no,
about this stuff, so
no, you
I don't know.
misunderstood me. You misunderstood me. The 50 milliwatt laser causes pain. Okay. I know that 50 milliwatt lasers can cause pain. And I know that this red one I'm using does not cause pain whatsoever. So I know that this red one is way, way less than 50 milliwatts. That's what I'm saying. But I can test it for you. All I gotta do is wait for a sunny day, because the sun puts out 1,000 watts per square meter, right? At high noon at the equator on a clear day.
Yeah, solar irradiance. Yes.
So all I gotta do is wait till it's a high noon and a sunny clear day, and take a white surface and take my digital camera and put it in manual mode and adjust the exposure so that the sun is exposed at a certain exposure. Then take that same white surface into the house and take a picture of the laser shining on that white surface at the same exposure settings, and then I can compare it to the sun, and then I'll know how many watts per square meter and how many square meters and then how many watts the laser is, right? Ballpark?
That's a really weird way to do it. And I'm
well, it's using
not sure
stuff
if I
I
trust
have.
that type of. Okay.
Let's see, how else could I do it?
The manufacturer was wrong, or you can use Ohm's law.
Well, I really don't know the
Ohm's law.
efficiency of it. So
Ohm's law has nothing to do with efficiency.
Oh, you mean put it in a temperature bell cell and measure its thermal waste heat compared to the input heat, and then whatever's the difference is, that's the optical output. That could work.
No. No. All right. I just pulled into my garage, so I need to go on mute. I need to go upstairs, and I just got off work, so
Oh, good.
I will be listening in. But I will help you out with that, Jesse.
Oh, thank you.
Andrew, you said Ohm's law, right? Like resistance and Pi and U? This one?
And you?
Voltage, current, and resistance?
No, okay. Oh. Yeah, and also power. Yeah.
You know, power.
Ohm's law. If you look up the definition of Ohm's law.
Ohm's law is the relation between current, voltage, and resistance. And current multiplied by voltage is power. Yeah. So there you can measure the electrical. You could measure the internal resistance of the laser, which would not tell you much because it has a different resistance when it's running and when it's not. But let's say you can measure the power consumption of the laser. That is why Jesse said he does not know about the efficiency, because the power consumption on a bad efficient laser doesn't tell you about the light output directly. So there could be a 5-watt diode in there, but it consumes 10 watt because it's very inefficient. It produces a lot of heat loss.
Yeah, I fully comprehend power efficiency and efficiency ratings. But Yeah, a single diode is not going to reduce the efficiency from something to be in like the high 90 percentile down to like 1%. That's just not going to, nothing does that. Unless it's like an open circuit or a ground fault or something like that. It doesn't exist. Like the most inefficient things that we have currently are high torque, low RPM, large, like 100 horsepower motors that are used for like waste treatment water facilities.
Okay, motor
those are
and
very inefficient.
Motor and diodes are a totally different animal.
I totally agree. But they still have a power efficiency rating, which is, it's known as power factor, input versus output. I know this stuff. Okay, you're not. Tell you what, I need to get upstairs. I need to take off my boots, and I need to, relax. I'll be listening in the background. All right.
Okay.
And
but I think Jesse, I think the measurement with the camera is also for eyeballing would be okay. Maybe it makes more sense to have a little bit lower light source than the sun, because the sun has a very high variant in the output. If you have a little bit more particle, a little bit more dirt in the sky, you have different power outputs, and so that on high noon you have a different output than on 11 o'clock or at 10 o'clock, because it's going through more atmosphere or less atmosphere, and then depending on the smog you have different ratings. I see that every time or every day on my photovoltaic solar output. It's not only the angle. I mean, it's so in the year, I just think it's not that reliable.
It would obviously be a ballpark method, but it would be using something I had available to me.
Yeah, but does it really matter? I mean, there's a big difference between pointing a laser to an object and look to the reflection, which is of course a very low output, or looking straight into the laser, what you did.
Right, and that's why it worked, even at 5 milliwatts.
As long as you can see it, it doesn't matter how good you could see it or how much wattage the laser had. Not sure why we have this discussion here. And also, different wattage of laser does not change the refraction, more the wavelength of the laser. But if you say it's a red one, then it has less refraction than the blue ones. So that would be actually an interesting experiment. If you have a red laser and the blue laser pointing to your brother, and they are directly side by side, and your brother then sees them some arc seconds apart from each other, that would be interesting.
I actually got one of those RGB laser modules, which is a red laser, blue laser, and a green laser, but you can control them individually, and they have these little, whatever you call them, dichroic, whatever, mirrors that combine all three paths, so that the three light beams all come out coaxial.
You can get a kind of white laser.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's my plan with that, is to see what the difference in elevation is between the red and the blue. And I also got an IR laser module that I want to try that with as well. But I also got some filters for UV and IR and I'm planning to make an adapter so that I can use them with my theodolite with a GoPro, so that I can see it, because that I took the IR block filter out of the GoPro, so I can
so
actually
yeah.
use my theodolite in using natural daylight, but using infrared or UV.
Yeah, UV wouldn't work that well because it's absorbed by glass.
Well, not like shortwave UV, but just a little bit past the human visible range.
Yeah, I mean, in the normal violet range, you will get enough information. But yeah, that's the point. Normal glass would absorb real ultraviolet, and okay. So did you really kind of dismount the IR blocking filter from your GoPro, or?
Well, fortunately, it's an old GoPro Hero 4, and the IR blocking filter is actually in the lens because they planned on people wanting to do IR photography. So you just take out the stock lens, and then you just buy an IR passing lens on eBay,
nice.
and you screw it in there.
Okay, I wanted to do that with my Canon mirrorless EOS R, but I'm so frightened because that thing just cost a fortune.
Exactly.
and when you see the videos how they are dismounting them, and they say, oh, what the fuck, no, I never do that.
Did you say EOS R?
No, IR block or EOS R, yeah. So the what is it? I'm not sure. Is it as the same name in the US? They were called Rebel in the back in the days. Not sure.
No, the Rebel
EOS.
is the consumer. Yeah, is the consumer line. The EOS R is Canon's first mirrorless, and I have that camera.
Yeah, that's the first mirrorless one.
Okay, I have the T2i, which has a mirror, and
it's basically the 5D Mark IV in a mirrorless chassis.
Yes, it's a nice one.
Mark IV as well.
It's a nice one, but I shit my pants when I think about opening it. So
oh no,
I'm not doing that. Yeah, because they have an infrared filter. They have an infrared filter in front of the sensor. There are cameras that don't have an infrared filter, and then they do color correction, so they just reduce the amount of red massively. But due to the different amount of infrared light in during the daytime and so on, you have to adapt it all the time. Therefore, good cameras have a blocking filter there. So if you want to make IR photography, you cannot do that with a normal camera. I did once IR photography with an analog camera because that is possible. You can then buy an IR pass filter, which is basically blocking all visible light and only passing IR light. And we used that back in the days for video surveillance systems when you have these IR diodes. So you have kind of big lights that only light in the IR spectrum, and then you have IR lenses that can only see this. For reflection, for example, from number plates, you only want to see the reflection. You don't want to see the car and all the stuff. So you use IR light, and then you use an IR pass filter. So you can only see this one. Yeah, but an UV laser and a red laser would be really interesting. How much difference you have, and I think because we know the refraction rate of these different wavelengths, it should be possible to actually measure the grade of refraction. Wouldn't you think so, Jesse?
Yeah, if there was enough difference between the two. I mean, let's say it's 3 arc seconds difference, and your instrument rounds to the nearest arc second. That's only a 1 in 3 resolution. So it could easily be 4 arc seconds, or it could easily read 2 arc seconds, which changes your result by a huge amount. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but if the signal noise ratio is shitty, then you can't measure correctly. Yeah.
But at the very least, it would tell us which way the refraction was going, because we know the blue is more refracted.
Ah, that's what you say. Prove it.
No, you can test it any number of ways.
I was just kidding. How much, now that we are talking reciprocal zenith angles, how much more than 180 degrees do you have over, for example, a mile? Or when does it become really significant?
It's
At
1
which
degree
distance?
per 60 nautical miles.
Ah, yeah, of course. I could have come to that point. Okay. So 111 kilometers. Okay, that's, yeah. So you have to be far away and you measure accurately.
Well, and what you measure will be slightly reduced due to standard atmospheric refraction. At 7.2 miles, I measured about like 2.5 arc minutes of drop each way, so you'd add that up to be around 5 arc minutes.
Yeah, sure. Because on 68 miles, you have the 60 minutes, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but this is something that you really can only do with theodolite. It's not possible with a phone or so. And I mean, maybe over long distance, but then it gets inaccurate from the pointing. I have to think about it in the holidays. From Munich, you can see the Alps, and they are pretty far away. That would be a nice measurement.
Oh,
something
if anyone
like
wants
the Munich TV tower or so to the Alps.
If anyone wants to see the laser that I used on that 7-mile shot, it's shown sitting in my hand in a picture I just posted.
In the live chat?
Uh-huh. I rigged it up to a little lithium-ion or lithium polymer rechargeable cell with a little battery protection and USB charging circuit board and a little switch. So I can tape it to my theodolite pretty easily. It's pretty lightweight.
Mm.